Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you're serious about the digital asset space, and let's get right into it today. One take and uncut. So to kick things off, I know with this pandemic going on, there has been a bigger and bigger push for stablecoins or talks of CBDCs, better known as central bank digital currencies. So what we want to discuss today is a little bit about some thoughts of where this could come into play, why it's beneficial, and why is there this move. So we know the Dow right now is down about 460 points today in the 18,000s. Absolutely crucial. We know that the Federal Reserve has announced $1 trillion printing per day. I mean, earlier on we were at, 30 billion a day or 50 billion. And this just proves the fact that we can just print limitless fiat into the system. This is not sustainable. They are crashing it, in my opinion, on purpose, because the best time to usher in a new system is after you prove the current one has been obsolete and we ran it as long as we could, and it's time to switch it up. So essentially people are asking, I know I saw Anders Lundberg or XNeo saying, is this the storm or is this the calm before the storm? Meaning the real storm. And we will have to see. There's all kinds of phrases, of course. A lot of people and political leaders use, crises to ramrod policies into place no one would accept in normal times. Of course, there's another quote that says, never let a good crisis go to waste. All right. Now, really quick, the Great Depression, guys, the peak of unemployment. All right, the peak of Great Depression unemployment was almost 25%. Now, the Federal Reserve today literally said they're planning on 30% unemployment. This is worse than the Great Depression. Granted, there is a completely different landscape today. I understand that. There's, automation, the population size is entirely different, but that is just something to consider. So right here, QSR wrap. So we're talking about USDC, the US digital dollar, or USD coin. So again, this is the push right here. As we can see, the US should use stable coins for emergency CV, the beer flu payments. All right. And I'm not saying that word just in case this video gets flagged. So hypothetically, for any newcomers, let's just say that each central bank, each country tokenizes or digitizes their own currency, whether it's the dollar, the yuan, the euro, the pound, etc. Now, we still need interoperability on the back end, an invisible protocol just to interoperate between all said things. Protocol, ILP, interledger protocol, and then the asset to transfer said value or bridge asset would be, in this case, XRP. Of course, it has the highest level of institutional adoption, has the highest level of liquidity, and has the highest level of the world banks connected, or at least an API built in, and interconnected, connectivity and a history of proof of concepts and trials already underscore. All right, so that's something we want to talk about, of course. Again, as we see here, necessary liquidity for the pairs, of course, the highest number of currency pairs as well, with corresponding stable coins. Exactly. All right, so then and there's just talks about this push. Even the German chief economist or something was saying that phase 3 of this whole disease and pandemic is going digital, basically going cashless. So it's very interesting. You have to question the motives behind everything. I understand it's a very legitimate and real pandemic going on, and my heart goes out to all families affected financially and health-wise. This is not a joke, but I do want to just share these thoughts. Of course, Catherine Coley, guys, the CEO of Binance US, links in the description. Previously, she was the head of XRP institutional liquidity at Ripple after working for Morgan Stanley foreign exchange desks in Hong Kong and London. All right, they know what is happening. For God's sake, we have starting April next month, we have basically a chief legal officer, I believe, of Coinbase overseeing the entire US banking system. You have to be able to read between the lines. All right. Right here, we're talking about USDC really quick. Now, this is just a thought. This has been a thought for a long time. I'm not claiming this, and I want to hear your thoughts if this is, applicable or not. So keep in mind, governments and, private groups. Governments do not create and innovate. They simply adopt. So what I could see is this USDC, this USD coin, the digital dollar, becoming the new currency for the United States. In a digital framework. It is not far-fetched, and in my opinion, Coinbase, one of the wealthiest groups, of course, in exchanges in the world, has, well connected or, been consulting and working with the Fed and huge government groups and, all kinds of payment initiatives for a long time. So this wouldn't be surprising, and it could be very possible. To me, it doesn't make a difference. I just want a digital dollar, whether it's fiat or digital, it doesn't matter. They still need a bridge currency with liquidity to solve the cross-border payment system issues, the friction in the payments, and basically replace this correspondent banking network that is completely archaic and outdated. So right here, USD coin, typical crypto, stablecoin again. It is pegged at a 1-to-1 ratio to the US dollar, giving it a stable price. All right. And the benefit of this, of course, we said, backed by $1 US, held in a bank account, powered by Ethereum, one of the leading smart contract platforms today. And then global transactions. It is designed to let dollars move globally from your crypto wallet to exchanges, businesses, people, banks. One of the benefits of going digital, of course, with interoperability is it's all about financial inclusion. All right. Right here, you can essentially just create a Coinbase account if you haven't already. And of course, talking about holding its value, we understand why it's beneficial, doesn't require a bank account, doesn't, basically it's inclusive. Look, right here. It doesn't require that you live in a particular geography. You can send this at very low cost in only a few minutes rather than 2 to 6 days with the current means of sending value today. All right, it's a no-brainer. Efficiency sells. All right, talking about being programmable, participate in building. You can talk about its divisibility instead of just 2, decimal places. Of course, we have much more, just like the cool thing about fractionalized assets as well. And then, of course, talking about the US, as I've already said, with USD coin, why it's on the Ethereum blockchain in particular? Well, its status as the market-leading smart contract platform and strong support from developers. All right. So, again, we can see where you can buy it. You see some exchanges where you can pay. And, of course, there's much more on the way. Now, what I want to show is this. Coinbase also showed this, and they give 2 options for sending money internationally, XRP and the USD coin. Notice, send money across borders virtually instantly, free, no fees, or send and receive XRP or USD coin to another account, and then of course available to Coinbase users in any of the following countries. Fast and free for all users, we can compare. Bank transfer, 1 to 2 days. USD coin, 12 to 17 seconds with an on-chain transaction. XRP, 3 to 5 seconds, so already more efficient, but of course they want to, kind of push their own initiative as well. All right, global, of course, with bank transfers, we're on the way. And then right here, we can see global on-chain and then 100 plus countries as well. All right, now we can see the fee. USD coin, less than $1, relatively zero, but XRP, less than a penny. It's already cheaper as well. And then, of course, bank transfers today, $30. And I apologize about any background noise, guys. Everybody is on quarantine here, so it might be a little noisy. All right, and then unlimited maximum sending. So again, financial inclusion, interoperability, when and where you want your money. All right, next up, let's keep going. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. All right, right here, Spiro. So at Davos, again, the World Economic Forum, guys, where the 1% of the 1% meet. They discussed artificial intelligence, AI. They discussed climate change. They discussed central bank digital currencies going cashless, tokenizing, an economy with asset fractionalization, financial inclusion, everything. And this is going to make banks more money as well. This is not just for the good of it's not just for the well-being of the world. All right. Maybe that's me being a little cynical. So you have to question this, see the pushes, see the frameworks in the push for going cashless. A lot of places in the US are actually starting to turn down cash, fiat. And if they turn down my $20 bill, what is it really worth if I can't use it? And they're saying it, is infectious. But I argue that so are debit cards and credit cards. When you're at a restaurant paying with a waiter or at a drive-thru, people are still, using it. So I don't know. To each their own. I mean, it makes sense to a certain degree. All right, right here, XRP_owl, just wanted to share this. So we know that DTCC, everybody's bullish because they're sending over, $1 quadrillion in assets each and every year. I'm not sure if they'll ever play a role with XRP. I think the XRP will be fine. I believe, 3 to 4 digits is entirely possible without the DTCC, but I do find this interesting. Today, March 23rd, 2020, we have the subject, same day settling initiative test dates. So they're doing a little settlement test, and we all know what is used, of course, for actual settlement and clearing, XRP. So we'll see if, we could see any type of set testing or hear, some results in the future as well. All right, next up, XRP Crypto Wolf. So the IMF, International Monetary Fund, has set a potential hybrid called synthetic central bank digital currency, CBDC, would involve collaboration between the central banks and the private sector, aka one of the private companies comes to mind is, of course, R3 or Ripple. All right, and both utilizing XRP. So the private sector would issue coins fully backed by central bank reserves under the supervision of the central banks. What comes to mind here? Well, we also know that we can issue assets on the XRP ledger. People think that XRP is, an update to Bitcoin. No, it's not even a Bitcoin 2.0. It's way, way beyond that, because you also have decentralized, you have a DEX on it, a decentralized exchange. You have, payment channels, you have trust lines. There's just so much more that you can do and incorporate and truly create a decentralized, or at least more distributed system than we have today. All right, now this is basically the meat and potatoes of this video. So if you stuck around, pay attention to this. This is a great analogy. I want you guys to share this around. So right here, XRP Reality. And this is what essentially blockchain is offering, and DLT, it's flipping the investment framework on its head. So can you imagine, we are at a 1997, or the year 1997, in IP addresses, internet protocol addresses, byte packages, or packets I should say, and limited for transferring data. So essentially there's a limited amount of IP, packets, let's just say packets. Now you can basically buy a number of IP addresses or packets and bits over the HTTP, which is a type of internet protocol. And basically, let's say if you can buy a portion of the internet, and every time data and information is sent, you are basically earning money. It becomes more valuable. There's a limited supply, increasing the demand. Therefore, the price rises of your investment. This is what it would be like with XRP in the Internet of Value. And of course, we know that the Internet of Value is levels beyond larger in terms of, the valuation. So now, tying into that, essentially buying in the information, the foundation of the protocol in the future that will be used, I want you guys to pay attention and watch this video, short clip of David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, one of the original architects of the XRP ledger. Short clip talking about micropayments. Of course, they're solving with Ripple cross-border payments, but micropayments and streaming of payments could arguably be significantly bigger. Now listen to this. This is shared by I Am Legion. Must follow.
I will say one thing that I think is going to be huge is micropayments. This gets a little out there for this audience maybe, but I think micropayments are going to sort of take over the world the way packet data kind of took over the world. I think that if you can make small payments very cheaply and you can make billions of them without a problem, then you don't need anything else. You don't need some special way to make larger payments. I will say one thing.
I love that. Now, streaming of payments can be very, very powerful, guys. Instead of monthly memberships for Netflix or your gym membership, you simply are being tracked, globally speaking or GPS wise, and you're only paying as you use the application or your membership or streaming how many movies you're watching per day or per month. I think that would be a much better system as well. But we will see. The economy is always going to be evolving as well. And again, just talking about this, the XRP ledger entirely open sourced, inclusive, etc. for mass adoption, guys. The Internet of Value, the IOV. All right, you can talk. Oh, look at this. Pay for IoT. Let's just watch this clip real quick.
Value. I mean, it does get kind of sci-fi Blade Runner-ish, where you have connected devices.
And this is the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, for any newcomers.
Devices that become economic actors. That, people talk about, hey, your refrigerator is going to order your groceries. Well, how's it going to pay for them? How is that going to flow? Are you just going to embed a credit card into your refrigerator? That would work if the average payment size is, large enough. But do we not think there's going to be micropayments where people are spending a penny or a dime? Value.
Boom. I love that point of view. And again, this is always shared typically by I Am Legion. And then, of course, Brad Kimes does share this a lot. So awesome, awesome content. All right. Use cases, micropayments and streaming of micropayments, and then remittances and cross-border payments. And not only the Internet of Value now comes into play, but also IoT, the Internet of Things. And I know some people with, IOTA, MIOTA, the Tangle rather than a blockchain or ledger system. Very interesting. Of course, we know Coil today is actually doing that. And then, of course, don't even get me started on Spring, a $500 million investment group, or not group, but basically they're working and incentivizing developers to build on and grow the XRP ecosystem. All right, now right here, Anders Lundberg just wanted to share this. So people saying XRP is just for the banks have it all wrong. XRP is for everyone. Just like I've said, it's open source, guys, for anyone to use and build upon, including banks. It's an open source technology along with IOP, which will be the protocol rather than the Internet of Value. Look at the Interledger stack for the, Internet of, rather than Internet of Information, this will be the Internet of Value, excuse me. It's like the internet. Anyone can use Google as a search mechanism, and there are no restrictions. Complete inclusion. All right, and then lastly, we are going to finish up with this. So this is XRP_Crow at Status website right here. So again, this is Michael Arrington of Arrington Capital, huge believer in XRP, and then of course Chris Larson, executive chairman of Ripple. Without him, I don't think we'd be here today as well. Listen to this. And again, they're talking about replacing the current legacy system of SWIFT, replacing all of the Nostrum pre-funded accounts around the globe, anywhere from 5 trillion to 27 trillion on the high end. This number is always changing. I'm getting, different sources all the time for the past 3 years. So again, they're talking about getting all of the payment providers that use SWIFT and legacy services today onto the Interledger protocol to interoperate their ledgers, connect their networks, and then use XRP as the bridge asset to basically send value as that bridge between two pairings of value. Is on-demand liquidity. That is the product name. That is why we are in a liquidity crisis. That is the cause of everything that we are seeing today in terms of financial markets and friction. It's a winning killer app, says Chris Larson. Of course, he says it a little calm and composed, but this guy knows what he's doing. Extremely well connected.
Rather than being an internet system. So we need that Internet of Value to be developed. And that's what we spend our time working on, is a replacement for SWIFT and correspondent banking. How do you get all of the payment providers, all of the wallets onto ILP? And then how do you use XRP as on-demand liquidity so that all of these providers don't have to keep balances all over the world because the process is so inefficient. We think that's the winning kind of killer app. And then I think last group talked about a Cambrian explosion. Yeah. Then you get that Cambrian explosion. Rather than being.
And this is all about creating, the final inclusion or final coming together of globalization. Of course, we have information, we have, logistics and, actual shipments. And then, of course, we're talking about value. So it's basically completing in the final components of globalization. So there's huge things on the edge, guys. I implore you, please do your own research. I have some really good information later today. I feel like a lot of people need to hear it just to kind of get a better perspective for what is really happening right now. I feel like people are too myopic. They're looking at price and they're not actually seeing what has been laid out before everything gets moving. So with that, guys, I appreciate it. Be sure to hit that like button, share this video around, and I will see you in the next one.